The War for Mansoul by John Bunyan, as told by Ethel Barrett. Copyright 1998, Christian Light Publications Incorporated, Harrisonburg, Virginia. Shaddai's army approaches. Forerunners, harbingers of tidings. 4 of Shaddai's divisions sent ahead to break the ice and pave the way, 40,000 strong. The first division was under the great Captain Boanerges, so called because he was a powerful orator. His standard-bearer was Mr. Thunder, who carried a black banner and had 3 burning thunderbolts on his shield. Then came Captain Conviction, that great prover of guilt. Indeed, no guilt could stand up under his stern look. Mr. Sorrow was his standard-bearer, and he carried pale colors. On the shield was an open book of the law. Next, Captain Judgment. His middle name was Punishment. His standard-bearer, Mr. Terror, who carried a red banner and had a picture of a mighty fiery furnace on his shield. Captain Execution brought up the rear, with Mr. Justice carrying the banner and wearing a shield showing Shaddai's justice carried out, a tree with no fruit, and an axe lying at the roots. 40,000 strong they were, with orders to offer Mansoul peace terms at first. But each captain knew that if they would not listen to peace terms and turn to King Shaddai, Mansoul would have to be taken by force. On they marched, colors flying, helmets gleaming in the sun, a beautiful and awful sight to behold. 10,000, 20,000, 30,000, 40,000 strong, on business for the king. The people of Mansoul saw them coming in the distance, their glittering armor sparkling like jewels. The Mansoulians came out of their houses and called out to each other, and stood on the city walls to see better. So gallant a company, so bravely accoutred, so excellently disciplined. The word spread, and the crowds on the wall grew. Diabolus saw them, too, from his castle. He stared for a while through his field-glasses, his face contorted in a horrible grimace. Then, without a word, he handed the glasses to Apollyon, who was standing near. 4 divisions, Apollyon said. They look as though they mean business. Yes. Diabolus motioned impatiently for the field-glasses, took them, looked again. They look good. There's judgment and execution. Convictions there, too. Good thing old man Conscience is in a coma. Who's the other one? There are 4. Boanerges. He's the chap we'll have the most trouble with right now. Terrific orator, voice like thunder. Scare wickedness out of anybody. What do you think they're going to do? Well, they didn't come all this way for nothing. I think they'll pitch their tents and entrench themselves one way or another in the position of strength, and probably assault Eargate. They look good, Apollyon said again. They look too good, said Diabolus. Those fool townsfolk might forget everything I ever taught them and let them in on impulse. What shall we do? The main thing is to keep them from hearing Boanerges. Diabolus stared a moment longer, then whirled around and started for his bell cord. The immediate thing to do is to get them down from the city walls. They shouldn't stand there staring. That display is pretty impressive. He pulled the cord. I'll get them back down into the market square. Are you going to mobilize them? No, just talk to them, for the present. Then we'll see. Down in the market square, Diabolus addressed them with just the right amount of feigned concern, patience, amused tolerance, and a wee bit of sternness. It was most effective. His voice had not been so oily since he had first descended upon them in the form of a dragon. Gentlemen, my beloved friends, he began, I cannot but chide you a little for your uncircumspect action in going out to gaze on that great and mighty force entrenched outside the town. That display of banners and glittering armor you've been admiring is not there for your amusement. Do you know who they are, where they come from, what they're up to? They were silent, waiting. You should know. I told you long ago. They are part of the very army that Shaddai has sent to destroy you. He paused for effect, just long enough. Then his voice rang out. When you first saw them, why didn't you fire the beacons and alarm the town? They shifted uneasily, stole glances at the city wall and back at him. Why do you just suppose I've commanded a watch and doubled the guards? Why have I armed you from head to foot? Why have I put you through training to make you as hard as iron, with hearts like millstones, so you might go out like a company of innocents to gaze at them? They stood still, mesmerized. No, he shrieked, to resist them! This had such an effect it was almost as though they took a step backward as one man. Diabolus knew just when to shift moods. He played them like an organ. His voice went back down to pianissimo. I will rebuke you no further. I will chide you gently. However, let me never see such actions again. Let not one of you so much as show his head over the wall of the town of Mansoul without an order obtained from me. You have heard me. Now do as I tell you. And if you do, I can dwell here securely with you, and I can take care of not only myself, but your safety and honor also. They were all silent for a moment. Then, that is all, he said quietly, and turned with his warlords and officials and started back to the castle. It was far more effective than an impassioned ending would have been. You left them stunned and gaping, said Beelzebub later, back in the castle. They're not stunned and gaping now, said Apollyon. He was standing by one of the great windows, gazing down into the streets. They seem to have panicked. Exactly, said Diabolus calmly. When they listen to me, they turn against Shaddai. They can't trust us both at once. It wouldn't make sense. Sounds drifted up from the crowds milling about in the streets. What are they saying? Said Diabolus. Something about the men that turned the world upside down have come here also, said Apollyon. And destroyers of our peace, or words to that effect, said Legion. This I like, said Diabolus. This I like very well. This is just as I would have had it. If we can just hold them there, let Shaddai's... He stopped. The clear, round notes of a trumpet came over the wall from the direction of Eargate. They listened, silent, until it had died away. Summons for a hearing, said Legion. That's Boanger's trumpeter. Names, take heed what you hear, said Diabolus. They waited. Anybody on the wall? Said Diabolus after a while. No, said Apollyon. Nobody's going to answer. As I was saying, said Diabolus, if we can just hold them here there, then let Shaddai's captains take the town if they can. But isn't a confrontation eventually inevitable? Said Legion. Probably, said Diabolus. But I still have a few tricks up my sleeve. He pulled a bell cord. What now? They wanted to know. Remember old Unbelief? Who? Unbelief, one of my aldermen, stout fellow. What does he have to do with this? He, said Diabolus, is one of the tricks. I've had my eye on him for some time. I'm going to appoint him mayor to replace Lord Lustings, temporarily. Mayor? Yes. He has always impressed me as a good man to use in an emergency. Well, I think we're about due for one, said Diabolus, and he pulled the bell cord again.